Okay, so I've got this old deck that I'm trying to restore. Last fall I spent, and I made a video about stripping all the layers of paint off this with the diamond brush, and it went fairly well. And then now that we're 2020 into quarantine mode and I've got some time on my hands, I think, okay, I'm going to take the next step and put down some sealer, water repellent or whatnot. But I've also got issues that I got to address, and I had some loose boards over here. Clearly the joists were rotting under here, so I was thinking about, well, okay, how can I maybe replace the joist without replacing all these boards and save some money? I want to do this as cheaply as possible. And then this other section over here that you can see is raised up a little bit. It comes off my master bedroom, but we had some drooping here in the center, a little bounciness. I don't know if you can see, but clearly there were some joist issues under there. So I thought, oh no. I thought about putting some joists under there and then screwing me into the old joist and taking off this fascia piece here and peering in and see what was going on. But I thought, well, why don't I just take off a few of the rotting boards on top? And this is what I found. I found some serious rotting, and I think the culprit is there's a sprinkler head under here that's not doing anything for my lawn. I'm not sure yet if that is actually still spitting out water, but that would account for all this rotting that's going on under here, at least on the front side. So I'm gonna take off as many boards as I need to. I may have to take them all off and see what I can do to fix this. May have to redo this whole section, may come up with another idea. I don't know, we'll see how things go. But we like our deck, even though it's old. I don't mind an old looking deck if we can make it look somewhat nice. But anyways, I had consulted Lowe's about what would it cost to have this whole deck replaced with, the name's not coming to me right now, but I swear it was like $40,000. And no, thank you. Now, I can live with a deck that looks like it's been lived in if I just repair the bad boards. Anyways, that's what I'm dealing with. I said, how can I do this? There's got to be a way. So here's what I did. I found these cement blocks at Lowe's, a groove in them that's perfect for a 2x8 like this. And I said, well, if I take off the front board here, I should be able to shove boards under there and use some cement blocks and not even take out the old joist. Just take out a few boards strategically, one here and 2 rows here. They need to be replaced anyways. And one board, you see this new board that I've got here. But I took that old board off so I could get under there. So I added a cement block there, one here, and one over there. So 3 rows of cement blocks to support these new joists. And then I'm gonna put a new face board on the front here and have this bracket support every joist that comes this side. Unfortunately, I've got nothing to support them on that side except the cement blocks and then the deck boards from the top that'll, pull up the boards. But so far, this is solid as a rock. I mean, this is like brand new solid, and I am totally thrilled with it. And then over here, came up with an ingenious idea. The edge of this deck, there used to be 2 more inches on these boards here. They used to go to the edge here. That was all kind of rotted out and was mush below, nothing to screw them into. So what I did, I took an 8-foot 2x6, that's 2x8, 2x8, and screwed into it a 2x6 that creates this little ledge. And so I cut off 2 inches all the way of these boards up here and shoved this 2x8 with 2x6 all the way over there, and now I have something solid to screw these boards into here. However, these 2 joists here were, at least in the front particularly, were very mushy and almost worthless. So what I did is I took off this faceplate and made I took 2x6, 8 feet length of 2x6, made a kind of a ladder. In hindsight, I wish I would have put this end piece to cover both of those. created this ladder that goes back 8 feet with these cross boards about every 2 feet. And then me and my daughter used our feet. Well, I could shove it in with my hands about halfway, and then we pounded it in like this with our feet. And now I've got a very solid foundation here to screw these boards into. So the old joists are right here, that's mush. The old joists are here is mush, but the new, you see there's a nut hole. There's the new joists go right through there. New joist, so I can put 2 screws there. Two new screws over here. The originals over here, those are mush. Put 2 new here. So with one little box, ladder box that I created, shove that under there. I think I'm going to be able to get at least another 10 years out of this deck. Yeah, it's starting to get to that point where the aging is almost the source of its character, and I really like it. So that's what I'm doing here. Thrilled. And so far on lumber and nails and things and blocks, I've spent about $300. One Saturday afternoon, my son-in-law came and helped me. We worked all day and got the hardest part done. In some cases, we had to get the car jack, the scissor jack out, and jack up a little bit so we could slide these boards underneath. And these tricky ones on here, we've got a 45-degree angle right here that that 2x10 those boards are locked into is pretty solid, so I'm not going to take that off. And so what I ended up doing, I'm going to have those attached by brackets to the 2x8 on the front of that. But then before I put that board on, that face plate board, the 2x8, I had to shove these. There's 1, 2. Anyway, so now as you can see, I've got new joists in the middle of every set of old joists. So they're roughly 16 inches apart, right? And then on this side, on the edge, this 2x10 or 2x8, those are screwed into, maybe it's a 2x10. Those are, it's got a little bit of life in it, but basically mush. So I put a whole new board there. Again, right here, right there. And on this side, that 2x10 on the edge there, it was fairly solid. So I said, I don't need to put anything next to that. I can always go back later and do it if I have to. Just take off that old 2x10 on the front of there and put it in there. But these cement blocks, it's kind of the process. We put them in there best we could. Then I screwed down some of these boards, and I went back and, well, I put gravel in there. But then I went back, and after I screwed these boards and pulled this board up a bit, and in some cases I had a little some looseness under there. I had to lift that as best I could, throw more gravel under there, but it feels pretty darn solid. So I'm thrilled. So I'm into this repair maybe. Well, if you count, I did this repair here on this thing a little bit earlier. So if you count both of them and everything, under $400 in materials and blocks and screws and everything. This thing is going to be solid as a rock. And then I'm going to worry about the staining of it and everything that goes vertical and the handrails and the benches. I think I'm going to paint. Getting that paint off there was just too much work. So anyways, so thank you. Hope you find this helpful in some way. I'm sure a professional carpenter would cringe at what I've done here, but as a homeowner who needs to stretch his dollar, I'm thrilled. So thank you. Well, my redneck repair of my aging deck. There's a few remaining things I still have to do, but I'm quite pleased with the way things turned out. I've got a few more screws to put in, and you can see how I got the front on here. Got my car jack under there, and I'm trying to close that gap. I don't know if you can see it. That board is connected quite well to those cross beams, the joists I should say, and with nice brackets, and so they should be quite solid all the way across. Although I'm having a problem getting that whole thing to come up another half an inch. But then I replaced the bad top boards that I have. I'll slowly replace all of these over time, but it is solid as a rock. These boards are. So I salvaged my deck. I can get another probably good 10 years out of this, I think. And slowly replace things over time. And now I'm gonna stain and seal. The floorboards, we're going to go with a very natural color, maybe a slight bit of color. And then on the vertical pieces and the benches and the handrails over here, we're going to just paint those. I think we're going to go kind of a wood-looking color, maybe a dark wood. I don't know, sure. My wife's in charge of color. I'm colorblind, so. Yes, I am pleased. If you can't tell. Well, this thing was, it's a pretty big deck, and Lowe's wanted to replace it for $40,000. Thanks, but no thanks. Maybe when I hit the lottery. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm essentially done with my deck. Here it is, July 24th, 2020. And after a summer of COVID and all kinds of crazy things, I plucked away at this thing, and I finally got the deck done to my satisfaction. I brought it back from the brink, and I thought I was going to have to scrap the whole thing after I found rotting joists under all of this. I replaced some of the boards. They look fabulous. Most of the boards are the same. I was very concerned about not being able to perfectly strip these boards before when I say stain them, I put a Olympic transparent honey gold on here. It's almost clear. To put a little bit of color, like honey gold color in it, it takes the projected life of the job up to 4 years instead of 3 years, or was it 3 years instead of 2 years? And we should get an extra year that way, so I thought, okay. Plus I got this hint from a guy I like to watch on YouTube, and it looked beautiful. And I was pleasantly surprised, because even though it wasn't perfectly stripped, I mean, you could see in the nooks and crannies part of the light gray color.